Call to order, Gold Hill City Council, October 19th, 2020. Roll call, please.
Sure. Councilor Rigney.
Here.
Councilor Hinckley.
Here.
Councilor Palmer.
Here.
Councilor Beachheim.
Here.
Councilor Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Studebaker.
Here.
Good to see everybody.
You're on quorum. Great. Have quorum. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is the community recognition awards. Again, we are a small universe with 2 people working for the city inside, 2 people outside, and 6 or 7 of us. Lots of work to do, so we really depend on the help from others around us. So we want to recognize some of those great partners that we've had. Councilwoman Wilson, the winners, please.
There you go.
Okay, so for Citizen of the Year, we would like to recognize Carol Holm for her tireless work with community shares, coordinating things, working on the Christmas stuff. She's really been a huge asset for the town. We appreciate it.
Carol.
And then we've got 4 or 5 MVPs, most valuable partner. So the first MVP for the home is we wanted to recognize someone who's done an exceptional job of taking one of our homes, in this case it's a very historic, important building, and did a lot of work. They had to float the foundation up. It was a mess, and that scared people away. But she did a great job, and that is Amber Cross at 494 Hayes Street. Thank you, Amber. MVP for business. Right across the way here, we have seen this ongoing project which had to cost them a bloody fortune. They redid their trusses, the roof, new roofing, new walls, new paint. It really looks beautiful. And that's Joel Williams at Gold Hill Christian Church. Okay, so MVP for government agency. We are newbies. We've had a lot of help from our partners, cities, agencies around us. We really, really appreciate that. It's really helped to get all of us, our inside staff, our outside staff, up to snuff. And we wanted to recognize Dave Cantor of OCCMA. Would you tell us who OCCMA is?
Yeah. OCCMA is the Oregon County City Managers Association, or maybe it's Oregon City County Managers Association. There's also the International Managers Association, which he's also a member. But he has been my mentor. I call him anytime I have a question about anything. He's worked for the county. He's worked as city manager for various cities within the valley, and this is all he does now is mentor new city managers. So he's been a really big help for me.
That's huge. That's great. And then the second is Justin Bates with Fire District 3. Remember, he fully funded our reconnecting our fire plug down at the park. So he paid for the connection and replaced with a new plug so that we have one in reserve if we need something goes wrong. $5,000 plus. We really appreciate that. And finally, the MVP for private companies, kind of an old stalwart, someone who's been around and helps us all the time. I hear from the guys outside that work in the shop that they go down there and they get free materials, which could cost hundreds of dollars every time they do it. And this guy just says, hey, you know, what do you need? And that's Scott Swede at Swedes. So we really, really appreciate all the help that citizens in these new committees are willing to do. These individuals kind of bubbled up to the top as exceptional cases in these categories, but we have lots of other great people, and we appreciate that. And we're going to need that going forward as we try to dig ourselves out from our situation and improve things. No public hearing input?
No?
Unfortunately, I had email issues, so I didn't receive anything.
In email issues, water bill issues, this software has not been seamless. To no fault of our IT, of Jessica, we got one that really hadn't been debugged, and so, you know, shame on them for pitching something they couldn't deliver, but here we are. And, you know, people stop me and say, hey, Stu, and I know that everyone in the office has gotten a lot of abuse too. We really need to cut some slack for everybody because, you know, this is an integrated system, which means when it's running, everything's gonna go a lot easier, but it's also bad because it's an integrated system, which means when it does it, it's gonna be a mess all over the place, and here we are.
And I try to remind people, the reason we had to jump into the software before we were ready is so that we wouldn't have to pay the almost $10,000 to renew Springbrook. So, I mean, we knew we weren't ready to go into it, but we weren't gonna pay for something we weren't gonna use. So we were trying to save some money, so we just have bugs instead.
$10,000 is a lot of money for us, and we just have to watch our nickels and dimes, and, you know, once in a while we get busted like this. Okay, approval of minutes for last meeting, September 28th. Does everyone have a chance to review those? Any changes, corrections, additions? Is there a motion to accept as is?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from last month's meeting.
Second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Counselor Wilson,
Yes.
Counselor Beechard,
Yes.
Counselor Palmer,
Yes.
Counselor Hinckley,
Abstain?
Counselor Rigney.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Kilt's considerations, Parks and Ethic Committee appointments. Why don't we start with Parks appointments? Jessica, do you want to review what we determined was kind of the composition numbers?
So for the Parks Committee, membership shall consist of 7 members nominated by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. The membership of the committee shall be comprised of individuals who shall live, work, or have significant interest in parks and recreation opportunities in the city of Goldsville, of which no more than 2 shall live outside of city limits. And then if you refer back to Resolution 20R10, it does say that any committee so created may contain a maximum of 2 counselors as members. So, there you go.
Okay, so 5 in town, 2 out of town, may include 2 counselors. Why don't we start with the in town? We'll keep it simple for ourselves. Why don't we talk about who we like best and see if we have consensus on those. The out-of-towners are Keesling, Page, and Ed. Yeah? Okay, so the next 4. Richard Hart, Jan Fish, Lorraine Parks, and Larry Holmes. Janet, who do you like best?
I mean, I think we have room for all of them, and they're all good candidates, so.
Agree? Anybody disagree?
Now, as far as the in-town people, I think they're all excellent. I mean, Larry Holm has done so much, you know, at Carroll, they're always helping out. And I met Richard Hart at the town hall for the parks. He's so knowledgeable and he is so interested, and he's been out there. Richard Hart's been out there working on the parks without even being a part of the Parks Committee or anything, just because he cares so much about it. So I think he's the big one.
We definitely need someone like that. Okay, so if no one is opposed, we'll accept the 4 in-town applicants as slated.
Do you want to read off those names just for the record?
Absolutely. Richard Hart, Jan Fish, Lorraine Parks, and Larry Holmes. Okay, so then we have 2 more slots. 2 could be out of town, and we can include a counselor. I like the idea of citizenry composition, and then the council can have a liaison, ex officio member, but let's make sure that we keep the citizens involved as much as possible. So for the out-of-towners, we have Steve Keesley, Paige, Pruitt, and Ed Cooper. Jana, who do you like of the,
I don't really know Paige Pruitt,
okay?
She's been a great resource for me for the parks, so,
so,
yeah.
obviously, Steve Kiesling has so much knowledge and has put so much into the parks over the years. I think he'd be a great addition to the Parks Committee. And Ed Cooper, I don't know that he's really got much park experience at all. So I think he'd be the one I probably wouldn't choose.
Okay. There is a bunch of information. Paige did a wonderful
Yeah, she did.
thing breaking out, and it looks to me, I just see an MPA, a bunch of years at Ashland, which has Lithium Park and some spectacular parks. They've really done a good job. 14 years of nonprofit, that's good.
I personally like Paige Pruitt. I think she has a lot of experience. I think she has a lot of connections that would really help us out. And I actually feel that Ed Cooper has done a lot of work with Can Do on the parks, on the skate park. He's been working here in Gold Hill. He works the town cleanup every year. He organizes all of that. I also really like that Ed Cooper has absolutely no problem giving his opinion on things. I think that he's not necessarily one to go with the crowd, and when he has an issue, when he sees something needs to be done, he's one to speak up and he's one to do it.
Good. Ron?
My two picks would be Paige Pruitt. I'm going off the recommendations of Jessica, because I really don't know the lady, but she sounds, I know that's a go-to person of Jessica's. And Steve Kingsley, which I do know, and his knowledge in parks is, this is not his first rodeo. He's been a member, an active member in Rogue Valley, and he's created 2 other parks.
I do want to say, Steve put in this parks application before he got appointed to the planning commission. I haven't talked to him since to see if he's interested in serving on 2 different committees. So, yes. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Because
so, yeah, he's very
Yeah.
knowledgeable on nonprofit organizations. He doesn't profit on anything, so, anyway, that's my 2 candidates.
I didn't know that he had parks experience per se, but I know that he started a very vigorous rowing club in Ashland, which went on to put a bunch of kids in college rowing teams.
Exactly.
And it was a big deal when I was there. Bill?
Yeah, I like Paige's resume quite a bit, and I like Steve Kiesling's too, and I know he's also on the planning. Yeah, I think I would go with those 2 guys. Paige and
Miss Beach Hyde?
You got it. You got a little lesson yesterday.
Yeah, I remember stuff that way.
So I agree with everybody that Paige, we'd be crazy not to put Paige on. She's got great experience and knowledge. I really feel like we need to include as many people as possible. We need everybody. Steve is already on planning commission. I feel like we should put Ed on because I think we need to include as many citizens as possible. And Ed is a really hardworking guy and has done a lot already, in his own unofficial capacity and his work with Can Do. I think that Steve's going to have plenty of opportunity to have input through planning commission. And I think maybe at some point we might want to look at whether in the ordinances or something, we want to say whether people should or can or should serve on more than 1 commission. Or whether there should be a limit to how many commissions they can serve on or something like that. Just so that you spread the talent out and then be as inclusive as you can. So my vote would be for Paige and Ed.
And I this year, but maybe next year we open it up to them to make it bigger, so that we don't have to.
Well, it sounds like we still have room for one in-town person. We could have 5 in-town people, but we only have 4 names.
Or a council.
Are there any counselors who want to be on the Parks Committee? Because they could use that spot if there is a counselor who's interested.
I thought didn't we just say it will be ex officio?
No,
No,
that's
no,
not
they-
what the resolution says.
Right.
but-
We
Yeah.
can have up to 2 people.
Yeah.
I'm doing Bee City, which would work very closely with the Parks Committee because Bee City is all about like what plants and things like that we should be doing. So I feel like having another counselor sit on the Parks Committee, that would kind of maybe play against me because I'm going to be pushing for certain things that maybe aren't the best for the town, but are the best for the bees, because that's my job, is to be advocate for the bees.
So you don't want to be on the Parks Committee?
I don't,
Okay.
but I do think that it is an opportunity for another counselor to maybe push against Bee City. I
And,
think
and
that
we
that's a
also
good
don't have to fill
dynamic.
it, we could leave it vacant if somebody wanted to join it later.
And given that you're gonna be working very closely with them, maybe you should think about being the ex officio.
Yeah,
You just have to be able to report on both, not always be the advocate for the bees.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like that. All right, so why don't we vote from the top?
Are we-
Top 2?
Is this voting or is this appointment?
It's appointment with the consent of the council.
I kind of got the head count when everyone was talking.
Yeah, I think everybody gave their,
Okay, so that would suggest that Steve Keesling and Paige Pruitt would be our choices. And we certainly wanted to be involved. Again, whoever sits on these committees or commission are spokespeople, so they need to reach out and make sure that they're getting ideas from you. In the case of like, Ed, he wants to be involved, give him an ear. Okay.
Was Ed an out of town guy too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Ethics Committee. Composition, City Manager, please.
membership shall consist of 3 members nominated by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. The membership shall not contain any council members and shall be comprised of a majority of individuals who live within the city limits of the city of Gold Hill, with a maximum of 1 member residing out of city limits. It was pointed out to me that that reading sounds like there has to be a member, but there doesn't. It just, if there is someone from out of town, there can only be 1 person from out of town. Since there's only 3, there has to be 2 inside city limits and 1 out, or it could be 3 completely in the city limits.
Okay. And we have 3 applicants. Cannon,
There's 4, don't
We have 4.
We have 4.
Elizabeth Rigney's not
Yeah,
eligible because she's the wife of a.
I wanted to put her in there though, because we didn't actually write that into the resolution, that it couldn't be a member, but it makes sense, right? It can't be someone who's related to a member of the council, since the ethics committee will probably be investigating the council if they were to investigate anyone, which is not gonna happen, because we're all very ethical here.
so we have 4, we're excluding 1, and that.
Yes.
On that thought process, there was something that I was looking at is, are we opening the ethics committee's purview to commissions in and of themselves? Because at that point, if they are also open to investigating commissions, then Mary Keesling would also be excluded
Oh,
from the
that's
ethics
true.
committee.
That's true, because it does make sense for the ethics committee to, technically, all of these committees that we are appointing are considered governing bodies, so, yeah.
And I mean, the planning commission especially is
Yeah,
charter
that's true.
mandated
She would be
and
excluded
they
as
are
well. That's a
public
very good
officials.
point. So we have 2 applicants. Boy, this is getting easier and easier.
Sounds good to me. At least we have 2.
Yeah. So Tom Cannon and Mandy?
Yes.
Okay, and And shall we just say that we will entertain more applicants if they bubble in, but for now, this is a committee of two, we can take on more. So let's give them another month to get their application in, and at the other month, if we have one or two, we'll do the same process.
And I think on the notification on the website, and maybe if anything that we put around town, we put a clarification about that you can't be related to a governing official. And that
Yeah.
way it'll be,
All right, good. Municipal judge compensation, update please.
Yeah, so as some of you may remember, last year we signed a contract with Jen Zanetti to act as our judge when she was appointed. And the contract was that she was appointed until the election was held, which is coming up on November 3rd. So, since her contract will be ending, I wanted to discuss how much we would actually be paying her, because in my research with other cities around the valley, we are paying a lot of money for a judge. We're currently paying $650 a month. The city of Rogue River recently killed off their fort, but I think they were only paying $125 when there was actually court in session, not on a regular monthly basis. I did discuss with the judge that her pay may come down. I was thinking $200, and maybe if we do it per session. I gave her this information while she was still in the election window so that she could withdraw if the pay was something that mattered to her. And she said that she was in this with the city from the beginning and she wanted to see it through to the end, and if the city couldn't afford her to pay her, then that's what it was, but she wants to see this through to the end. So she's aware of it. I'm not springing anything on her, but I think we should revisit how much we pay the judge, because it does cost us a lot of money, and as you know, we haven't gotten anything out of it yet, so.
So what is the range for what people are getting paid now?
Yeah, so I was thinking if you wanted to give her $200 or $250, and
If we're in session,
yeah, when we have session.
when we have session, so
When
that's
we
much
have
more
session.
reasonable.
Can I make the suggestion $200 plus expenses and have that written in? So like for her, like when she needed to buy her robe and things like that, I
Oh, we
think
pay
that-
for that.
Right, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that that's written in.
Yes, the
her
other thing we pay
compensation.
for is her membership in the Oregon Association of Municipal Judges. I think that's what it's called. Oregon Municipal Court Judges Association. We pay for her membership in that as well. And yeah, expenses.
How much is that?
It's like, I think it was $250 for the year. It's not very much. It might not have even been that much, maybe it was 200. It was, yeah.
Good.
So how long would a court session be? An hour? 2 hours maybe?
I mean, that's hard to say because.
Yeah, it depends on what's on the docket.
Yeah.
I would think
And
it's
it-
an hour. I mean, how many
I
tickets
mean,
can there be?
I would think 200, like,
It's
I
20 minutes
I
each,
agree
that's an
with the
hour.
200 plus expenses.
It's been pretty fat money so far.
Yeah.
Nothing untoward about her, we overpaid.
Yes, for
Our
sure.
previous recommendation was pretty far off, so 200 plus expenses, great. And we appreciate that, Jan, for being willing to hang with us. City
We will get
engineer.
there.
So do we need to vote on that, or?
No, I mean, I'll just, let's see. Yeah,
No?
nope. That's good. If you want to direct me to handle that, then I'll just handle that.
Jessica, can you handle that, please?
You got it.
City engineer.
All right, the only reason this is on there is, I'm sure you all also got the notices of executive session. I just wanted to let you know we have interviews scheduled for tomorrow night and Thursday night. And that's all I want to tell you about that. Make sure you're here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and Thursday night at 6 p.m. And
Can I just ask a little bit about the format?
yes,
So are we gonna take turns asking questions, or one person gonna ask all the questions? How does it work?
yeah, well, so I was thinking about this because when we did the city manager search, everybody had their own list of questions. It's entirely up to you guys if you want to just go round robin and take one question at a time to ask, or if there's a question that's more meaningful to you. I mean, we can come in early and decide who wants to ask the questions.
Yeah. It's entirely up to
And we
you.
kind of have to limit the number of questions each person asks too, because that could.
Well, I mean, we're only gonna ask the list of
Well,
the
that's
questions. I mean, you can, you know, I guess.
10 questions in an hour probably won't. I don't know,
Right.
it just depends on how
And you
long.
may have follow-up questions based on what they
Right.
say to their answers, so. You could just designate one person to read each question, and then if you have a follow-up question, then that person can give their follow-up question. I mean, it really is just reading the questions, so. Do you like that?
Sure. I like round robin, ask a question each, instead of just one person being involved.
Well, in that case, does somebody have, do you want to talk about who would ask which questions, or, I mean,
Does anybody have specific questions they want to ask, or we could just take them in order as you go around?
I would like question 7. If I'm going to pick a question, I would like question 7.
And I'd like 8.
Eight is the most pertinent one, it seems to me.
Yeah.
One I would ask, and I don't see it on here, is every time we make a phone call, are we being charged for it? Or if they did us a favor, that favor turns into a cost?
You can get a bill for $1,000.
Yeah, or, you know what I'm saying, Jessica?
Yeah.
Because engineering, it's like attorneys. You ask them something, and the next thing you know, you're getting a bill.
Yeah.
And that's how Civil West was with us. And it really cost us a lot of money.
well, we could have 11 questions, there's.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying, I mean, and
I'll go
I agreed
ahead.
with these.
I'll add this question
Malia. I
in.
do agree with these, I just,
And I might rearrange them to add, make number 8 come closer to the top.
yeah.
Anyone else see one they like? That's
I know
don't
that-
really- I'm not partial.
I know
Yeah,
the
no.
general contractor question was important to somebody, wasn't it? Was it Mark?
general or subs?
The
Or
sub-
That was
subcontractors?
Bill's.
Subcontractors
that was Bill's
are-
Bill, is
question,
that
I
your
think.
question?
Well, yeah, basically, I wanted to know how they did with their subs, you know, they're like a general contractor, that they got, how they feel about the subs they
Who
use.
wants to do subs?
Let Bill do it. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Anything
All right.
else that you like that's particularly?
Now, I don't know if it matters to you or not, but they could all be watching this meeting right now, so, just so you know.
Well, good.
Doesn't matter, we just.
That's
let
good.
it balance out.
We'll reward them for doing their homework.
Yeah.
There you
Spend
go.
more time thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not impartial either.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's.
I'm not partial either.
Okay, well then, other than the people who have spoken up, I'll reprint it, I'll add number 11, and I'll put a person's name to each one, and you're gonna get whatever I give you.
Okay,
Thanks.
so there you go.
Okay.
That
Right,
works.
thank
You'll
you.
be happy.
I'm always.
Okay, reports from the counselors. Janet?
Busy, busy, busy.
Welcome back, Daniel.
I'm back, and I'm glad to be back, I really am.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I get stronger every day. And my wonderful husband has been helping and cooking dinner and helping to clean the house. It has been wonderful.
Yay, Marvin.
Been getting out in the garden?
I've been out in the yard walking around. I have to do a certain amount of walking every day. And I'm going to be starting cardiac rehab here soon.
Cool.
Time to take up golfing.
Modern medicine.
No, it's quite wonderful, and Northwestern Medicine is a wonderful hospital. They treated me very well.
They do have a great reputation. I know them too.
I would like to give Jessica and Tony an attaboy. The last week I've been walking the park trails, and I noticed right off the bat somebody went in there and they cleared a swath and cleaned up those trails, and it's really nice. And it looks really good, so thank you.
Yeah, they finally lifted the fire restrictions enough
Yeah.
that Tony could start mowing again.
Yeah, so I just want to put that out there. That looks
I
wonderful.
know Shannon helped with that too. Shannon didn't.
Well, I just said, you know, she knows who I'm talking about. So, yes, you're right. and they did a wonderful job.
We have perfect walking conditions with these temps and no smoke.
Right. Too dry though.
Do need rain. Need
Boy,
rain.
it needs some rain.
The river's as low as I've ever seen it.
It is low.
Bill, what's the update on the beach cleaning project?
Working with Tony to, well, as we discussed the other day too, to get the equipment down there. We'll probably do that the week before the volunteer cleanup to avoid having volunteers running around with, when we have a piece of equipment operating down there. If we have a compact axe or the chip or whatever we can get down there. And then what I'd like to do is make sure we've got, well, get with Carol. I talked to Carol yesterday about that. Let's notify the volunteers, and let's see if we can get them down there at a reasonable time on that day, so we can do a basic briefing on that, so we're not tearing up too much of what we, some guys get a little bit overzealous with the chainsaws and the
Bill,
weed
if you can
crashing.
send me like a flyer or something with the details, I can link it on the calendar for you guys on the website, so it'll be up there. For
Sure, that's not a big deal. On the 14th, I believe it, the November 14th.
You just put the date and attach the volunteer waiver form to it.
There you go.
Yeah, the 14th and then the volunteer waiver form, okay.
And remember,
Do you have a copy of that already, or do you need one?
I think I need a digital copy.
Okay.
this is a
Bring it on,
one-shot
brother.
deal. We're going to get the thing cleaned up in 3 hours on Saturday morning.
No.
There will be waves, and it's kind of like weeding the weeds along the side of your house. The first year, it's not pretty. Every year after that, it's less work. But it's going to be a continuous thing that we're going to do every spring and probably every fall. And, it's not Lithia Park yet, but we need to get toward that, and it will be an ongoing effort. So we appreciate everybody wants to come down 3 hours on Saturday the 14th from 9 to noon. Malia,
I don't have any report.
department reports.
Yeah, the guys have been doing a great job running the city without me. I feel like the last couple of weeks I have been involved in every committee meeting that's occurred in this town. It's been great getting out there. Dwayne is a saint for taking all of those phone calls we've gotten about the bills being wrong. And a lot of people just paid the wrong bill, so next month they're going to get a higher bill because their consumption from this month is going to be on it. So we know already we're expecting 300 more phone calls next month. It is what it is, so, yeah.
So sorry.
We'll get through it. Eventually, we will work all the kinks out of the software. It has great potential. I've seen some good things that we've been able to do with it, but we just keep getting glitches at billing, and unfortunately, that's the only part that anybody else ever sees, so, yeah, that's where we are with that. Other than that, I have not much to report. The Planning Commission met for the first time last week, and it went splendidly. I was really impressed with the volunteers who came out to do that job. They're all taking it very seriously, and so we'll have the next hearing next Tuesday. We've got a couple of different things on the agenda.
Next Tuesday or next Monday?
Next Tuesday, the
It's Tuesday.
27th. So, yeah,
Given the number of calls and walk-ins that our city team is getting, I'm wondering if we shouldn't adjust our policy to reflect what other government agencies does, which is you may not get a live phone call every time. Let it ring through, leave a message, we'll get back within, 8 hours? 2 days? What's reasonable? What can we execute? Because what I'm seeing is the two of you have been so busy with important stuff, but distracted from other stuff that has to get done. And we're up against deadlines, and we're going to burn you out because there's no possible way to take 6 calls of unhappy customers and get your other work.
yeah, I'm gonna work on the recording for the message, so at least it says something like, "We know your bills are messed up."
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you could leave a message in that,
Yeah.
have
If
an
you're
answer.
calling about your water bill.
You can log on online and see your correct balance.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a look at the phone system and see what we can do about that, because you're right, if we just, answer phone calls at a designated time of the day, when we've finished all of the important things, because it's really hard to get anything done when you have to keep answering the phone every 10 seconds.
And it would be people who worked for the city who didn't care about being polite and pleasant with people, wouldn't be as much of an issue. But everyone is trying to be really nice and good customer service, and we just can't do everything. Any other departments? Any good of the order?
I have a good of the order. So with new counselors and things coming in, when I first became a counselor, we had a lot of training. The insurance company came in and had a lengthy conversation with counselors on what we could and could not do as far as like public statements, things like that, our online presence. And I think that maybe asking them to come back after this next election, especially, and it's no offense to the two of you, you guys haven't received all the training that we did, and you deserve
Yeah. I've
to get
looked
that
at-
training.
Yeah, that'd be
That
great.
reminds me, I also found out today about an organization called OCPDA. It's the Planning Association, and I'm hooking up with them so that I can get training to the planning commissioners as well. Because you're right, training is needed.
So I would
when they
like
got
to-
elected the first time, we were in the throes of COVID, and no one, I mean, I printed out what I could off the website for them, but no one was having any kind of training. So hopefully after this next election cycle, they've at least figured out how to do it virtually better.
Well, yeah, I know Heart Insurance will send a trainer here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we did it, I think, on an off night, and we just came in and got the presentation. I think I would really like to have the training again, and I think it would be nice for new counselors to have it.
Okay,
And
I'll check with them.
CAS can come in for part of a meeting like
Right.
they did last year.
Mhm.
Now,
Not only
we're not
that-
get- We're not gonna get the professional organization thing, the all-day thing in Grants Pass because of
Right.
restrictions, I think.
I think adding something to the budget for counselors and the schooling. You know, there should be money allotted for that schooling, the counselors.
And we do have money allotted for training.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying, but I haven't
Yeah.
heard, we haven't talked about
Well,
it.
it's
Last
COVID.
year when we went to the Oregon League of, the city of Oregon.
Yeah, none of that was budgeted for.
I know, but that was very beneficial, and
Yeah.
I think all the counselors, if you can make it, go, because
Yeah, the OCCMA conference was held online, but I attended it,
Mhm.
and it was really useful.
it's very beneficial.
The only thing that I would bring up with like offsite training and things like that, one of the reasons that I stayed back is because all of the counselors, the mayor and the city manager were all leaving town. And I thought that there needed to be someone here in case something went wrong.
It does make sense for not all of you to go to the same, you know,
Yeah.
like the president and the vice president, one of you needs to stay in the bunker.
Somebody needs to stay, I just want to, somebody needs to stay here because
I know.
that's going to be the time.
I know
that Gogo is
Janet
closed.
stayed too, she didn't go, there was quite a few counselors that didn't go.
Oh, I was under the impression that everybody had gone to
No,
Eugene.
no, there was Rob Lowell, myself,
Brad and
Mayor,
Pete.
Mayor Studebaker, and Pete.
Okay. Yeah,
But
because I was under the
if the mayor
impression
goes,
that-
you're your own different class.
Yeah.
You guys are going to different classes than counselors and stuff, so.
The only other good of the order that I had was that with the appointment of Mayor Studebaker, we do not have a city council president.
That's true. This is the last meeting before the election. Do you want to wait until after the election and then appoint a new city
I just
council
wanted
president?
to.
That's
make
a very
We
good
are
point, yes.
very aware of that.
we need to be aware of doing those things, that
Yeah.
after that, we need to appoint somebody.
And I think we're waiting until after November.
Yeah.
Agreed, that's important.
Which is here already. 2020 can't get over fast enough.
It's almost turkey.
I hate that.
Okay, anything else? World record time?
Good one.
So on good of the order, I know you have a lot on your plate, but I was just wondering if you've been able to make any progress on researching the new attorney?
No, not even a little bit.
Do you
I
need some
did,
help with
I
that?
did
Is that
speak with
something
our
any of us
attorney
can
and
do?
tell him that that was happening.
What was his name again?
Mike Mayerly, the law firm of Hornicker and Cowling.
I have their website linked
And what did
under
he say?
city departments on the internet, or on our
I said,
website.
thank you for telling me.
That's what they said.
You should make sure that he doesn't have it on his website, that, because he used to say on his website that he was the city, he
Yeah.
was the city attorney.
Well, and I think this is up for review. He's not automatically not gonna be our city attorney, I think.
Well, I think you already made that happen, didn't you, Jessica?
No, I just told him that you had asked me to look for another attorney that, you know, yeah, I didn't fire him. I just said that I am looking into it. And you should be aware they are not happy with you and,
Some are not happy with him. We don't wanna throw the baby out with the bathwater, just like with the engineering. We're doing a review. And we've invited our previous engineer to be part of the process. He's got to make his case. Yes. Are we guessing we can get to that this year?
yes.
I know it was a scorched earth.
I'm gonna tell you right now, my priority is getting the books to the auditor before the end of the year. I'm trying to divert everything else as much as I can because of the software transition, I have to recreate the entire year of last year in the new system before I can give it to the auditors. And I just keep getting pulled in a million directions. So I want you to know that if you have something that you could maybe take care of yourself, take care of yourself, and please let me focus on the books because I just got us undelinquent. I don't want us to be delinquent again. I have to get the books to the auditor by the end of the year. So it is my #1 focus right now.
So maybe, Malia, you can work with Jessica.
Jessica, if you
I would appreciate any help you could give me.
Can you give me some direction at some point, or?
Yes, we'll talk about it.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
I had a whole list of things, and she has not been able to get to them because between the fires and COVID limitations and our software blow up, it's been.
If it would help, I can call her insurance and CIS and see if I can set up a training
Yes,
date with
that
them.
would be great.
Great, Daniel.
Yes, Dwayne's been a big help. He's been just plodding through the list and recreating every invoice and recutting every single check because we literally have to go through every single transaction that happened last fiscal year and recreate it. So it's taken some time, yeah.
Wow.
So let's-
But I only have to do this once, but, you know, and then we're done and we're good to go and yeah.
To the next one.
Yeah, so.
Until the next seamless rollout. Okay, anyone else? World record timing?
Okay.
Meeting's adjourned.